What up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another video on the farm. Today I'm out here with the registered St. Croix sheep. If y'all been following the channel for a while, you know we've been having them for closing in on a year now. Actually probably like 8 months. But as you just saw, well, I just gave them with some minerals. We try to keep a free choice minerals at all times. We don't feed the sheep really. But we try to give them all the minerals so they can have all the nutrients they need to survive and thrive in our environment. So what I just had, what they're eating out of, which is, let's see if I can, the dogs are in the way, but these are the guardian dogs, people who are new to the channel. Both of these are girls. But so what I just did, it's a new mineral trough that we have. It's not brand new, like store new, but it's new for us. We used to have an old PVC one that Dad makeshifted, and we used that for a little while. But this is a nicer one. It has a little waterproof top. The other one didn't have that, but this has a top, so they just have to, they're figuring it out, but they just have to push it up, and then the minerals can just be right there for them to eat. But then it closes right back after, so it's not exposed to the all the precipitation and stuff like that. But we're gonna look, they're starting to figure it out now. That's the first time they really push and open it themselves. But yeah, I gotta do a couple things for the sheep. We had some baby twins yesterday. We had a baby, both boys. Then we had a baby girl 2 days ago, and but we already tagged her, but we got to tag the baby boys. We like to give them about like a day and then tag them. I don't know, I mean, they're born in a day old. It feels a little bit early to go in there and start tagging their ear and everything and pull them off of their mom for a second. You know, we'd just rather let them have a good 24 hours before we start really getting in there and fool with them. But I'll pick back up with y'all when we get with the tags. All right, so I got the tags right here. So it's a two-piece tag. When you squeeze, it punches into the back side of the tag, and it'll stay in there for good. But as you see, tag number 516, and then I have one in my pocket for tag number 515. LF's on the front for Leader Farms, and then on the back, we were putting the number on the inside of the ear, but we noticed, like, with the sheep's ear always being down and curved in, it's really hard to say, oh look, that's lamb number 501. So what we started doing, we started putting the LF, because we know we're born on Leader Farms, in the front, and then the numbers on the back, because you can see that at all times. So I'm gonna go try to find the two baby lambs that need to be tagged, and I'll pick back up with y'all. So here's what I'm talking about. So that's what we used to do, and you see how you can't see the number. But then now we put the number on the outside of the ear, and you can see that's baby 512 right there. She's looking at us, but you can see when she turns her head. So that's what we've been doing ever since. I have lamb number 516. Everywhere that you see hair is another vein. So right here, right here, right here. We go between the top two, and then halfway between the head and the tip of the ear. Like that, good to go. And that baby is 1 day old. Okay, so this is our, you can see right here, all flex ear tagger that we use. So you're just gonna put the part with the initials on the top piece. It just slides right on, and then you just push that little lever down and clip the bottom piece, and that way it just slides right in. Okay, so this is gonna be lamb number 515, and they're twins, so you might be like, why are we so particular about it? Well, what happens a lot of times with lambing is the bigger one will come first, and then the smaller one will come second. And in this case, he's the bigger one, so he was the firstborn. So we like to put all of our numbers in order, so that's why we're making sure we're putting him 15 and then the next one 16. But it's gonna be the same process. Flip the ear over between the top 2 veins and between the head and the tip of the ear. Punch it through. It's just like putting an earring in. 515. Now I can go back to his mama, which is over there. Now she got both of her boys. She happy. Babies wag their tail like that, you know they're getting their milk. They'll do that after they suck for a sec, because that's how you know they're getting the nutrition they need, and that they're getting milk when they suck. Alright y'all, so I just put the pallet forks on the Kubota tractor. I love that Kubota tractor, but if there's one thing about it, it's a 4-wheel drive tractor, and those are a lot harder to see right in front of you, so it's really hard to put those forks on. That's why I had to get off the tractor and kind of line it up for myself. But the 4-wheel drive part is amazing, and I like the rest of the tractor. But Dad's in front of me. He is gonna give some hay to the cattle at the lease pasture that touches our place. So I'm going behind him. I'll probably pour him a couple cubes instead of cows. We don't have to fight the cows trying to get out of the gate to like try to come get the hay when we're bringing it to them. So I'll probably get out and give them some cubes, and then I'm gonna run down to the property that's a little bit down the road where we have our heifers and check on them. But I'll pick back up with y'all. All right, I'm down here with the heifers. This one, of course, that y'all probably don't recognize, the one in the front right here, is the one that we purchased from my neighbor's place. So she's not from here, but she's fitting in nice. She's the youngest one here, hence why she's the smallest, but she'll catch up. But I just really want to focus on this Brayford heifer right here. Her mom's a Brayford, and then her dad's 75% Red Angus, 25% Romo Silvano. But look how deep she is already. I mean, she's really come out. Looks nice. This mouse-colored calf pinned between the 2 red ones, she's a little bit, she's probably the worst one here. My least favorite. We're still deciding if we're going to keep her or what we're going to do with her, but she's not hurting anything right now. So that red heifer closest to us with the little black spot on her front right shoulder, she's probably my favorite one down here. The deep, she's super deep. She's like that Brayford one, but super slick hided and just really nice. I just really like that slick hide down here in the south. That heifer right there, the red heifer on the back side of that grayish mouse colored calf, she is off of, she's the oldest one here, and she's off of and Brangus cow, and then this one right here is off of a Charbray, which is half Charolais, half Brahma cow right there. And she's nice too, but she has a little bit more time before she gets deep. She's still a little bit leggy, but as you can see, they all are in pretty good shape for their first winter. But I expect this Beefmaster heifer that we have right here to begin to turn the corner soon. I mean, she just weaned off of her mom, so obviously she lost a little bit of weight, just not being not having milk in her mom for the first time in her life, but she should start to turn the corner, and they got a good little bit of grass planted grass down here, so she should start to come out soon and really start to look like the rest of them down here. But overall, I'm very pleased so far. All right, so just to clarify, because I see some questions and I've addressed it before, but I understand that we got like new members coming in. So those that are new for this video, the cows that I just showed y'all, that's not our main herd. Okay, we have a main herd that Dad went and fed the hay to, and I went to the heifers. The heifers are they're not to butcher. We don't butcher our heifers, but they're to be raised they take 2 years, and then they'll have a calf. So we're raising them as replacement heifers. Replacement heifers are exactly what it sounds like. It's cows that you are growing to replace, or raising to replace the cows that you already have on your property. So every year, like last year we culled like 3 cows. This year again, we're gonna have to cull 3 or 4 cows. So how do you do that? Well, you have 8 cows down there to replace the 4 each year that we just had to cull. And then this year coming up, or these calves that are going to be born anywhere between now, we have 3 on the ground, and May. Our cattle calving season is not as tight as our sheep lambing season. Our sheep lamb pretty much all within about a month span. The cows kind of go over a course around 4 months. We hope to tighten that up one day, but it's a long story. I can address that in another video, why it's like that. But so all those heifers that I just went and brought a little bit of cubes down to, they're all one day hopefully going to pan out to become the next generation of cattle on our farm. Come out of there. That's good.
Get your bottom and back it up a little bit.
All right, so that right there was a stack of pine trees. So behind me, I have, or me and Dad have about 10 to 12 acres of pine trees. The plan is to take all the smaller ponds out and make piles and burn it. And we're gonna make civil pasture, which is pasture that has trees in it. We plan to go about 100 feet between each tree. Actually, you look to the left, you can kind of see, we'll probably take out that second middle tree right here between the 6 of these trees. But that's kind of how we want it to be throughout all 10 to 12 acres. So it has some trees, because trees are good for your pasture, but it also be able to get the proper sunlight for the ground to germinate and grow. But as you can see, that those ponds burn quick. It didn't take much, and it's going to start to catch once that fire penetrates to the middle of that pile, and it'll burn quick. By tonight, you won't even recognize it. All right, it's been a couple hours, and the fire actually burned through the middle of it. So Dad's on the excavator right now, restacking it. He's just pushing both ends together, but you can see that's really putting some life back in the fire. Over and over. So as you saw, Dad just stacked the fire one time already. We're gonna have to continuously stack it with the excavator. But that's where I'm gonna wrap up this video. Hopefully there won't be too many more logs, but like I said, we're gonna be clearing that 10 to 12 acres of pond. So any leftover logs will just be stacked onto the next fire. But thank y'all so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and God bless.